In a small village in Africa, there lived a man named Bayo. Bayo was poor and struggled every day to make ends meet. His house was small, his clothes were old, and he often went without enough food. Bayo watched others in his village who had money and power, and he wished he could live like them. He dreamed of a life where he would be rich, respected, and able to take care of his family without worry. But Bayo had a problem. His friends laughed at him because he was poor. They mocked him and called him names, which made Bayo feel sad and embarrassed. He didn't like being teased, and he wanted the laughter to stop. The more his friends mocked him, the more he wanted to be rich. He began thinking that if he could just have money, people would respect him and stop making fun of him. One day, after being laughed at by his friends, Bayo decided he had to do something to change his life. He didn't know how yet, but he was determined to find a way to become wealthy, no matter what it took. One evening, Bayo was sitting outside his house, feeling sad about his situation. Suddenly, an old friend he hadn't seen in years walked up to him. The friend's name was Juma, and he looked very different now. Juma wore expensive clothes and had a shiny watch on his wrist. He looked wealthy, and Bayo was surprised. "Bayo, it's been a long time." Juma greeted him with a big smile. Bayo looked at Juma and said, "Yes, it has. You look different now. You look rich." Juma laughed and said, "Yes, I have found a way to make money and live well. I don't have to worry about poverty anymore." He then looked at Bayo and added, "I can help you, too, if you want." Bayo's heart started beating fast. He didn't know what Juma was talking about, but he wanted to know more. Maybe this was his chance to finally escape poverty. The next evening, Juma invited Bayo to a secret meeting. Bayo felt nervous but excited as he followed Juma to a hidden place in the village. When they arrived, Bayo saw a few other men there. They were all well dressed and looked wealthy. Juma introduced Bayo to the group, and they welcomed him warmly. One of the men spoke to Bayo. "If you want wealth and power, you have to make a serious commitment," he said. "Are you ready to do whatever it takes?" Bayo thought about it for a moment. He wanted money, and he was tired of living in poverty. He nodded and said, "Yes, I am ready." The men smiled and told Bayo that he would have to join their secret group. They said they would show him a way to get wealth, but he would have to follow their rules and never tell anyone about what he did. After Bayo joined the group, they told him about the condition he must fulfill to receive wealth. One of the men explained, "Bayo, if you want money, you must do something very serious. You must confine your wife in a room. You will have to keep her there and perform special incantations on her every day. After each incantation, she will bring you money." Bayo was shocked. Confine his wife in a room. This sounded strange and scary. But the men assured him that if he did it, he would get all the money he needed. They promised him that his life would be easy and that he would never have to worry about poverty again. The thought of becoming rich and powerful was strong, and Bayo felt tempted. Even though it sounded strange, he thought about his friends mocking him and the life he could have if he had money. After thinking for a while, he agreed to follow their instructions. When Bayo told his wife, Amina, about his decision, she was heartbroken. She loved Bayo and had always supported him, but she could not understand why he would want to confine her. She begged him to change his mind, but Bayo was determined. "I have to do this, Amina. I'm tired of being poor. I want a better life for us," he said. Amina cried and pleaded, but Bayo wouldn't listen. He locked her in a small room in their house, just as the cult had instructed him. Every day, he would come to her, make strange incantations, and wait for the money to appear. Though the money came, Bayo felt a growing sadness each time he saw his wife's sorrowful face. But he pushed those feelings aside, believing that this was the price he had to pay for wealth. Day after day, Bayo made his incantations, and every time he did, his wife, Amina, would produce money. It was a strange sight, and Bayo felt a mixture of joy and discomfort. He was becoming richer, and his life was improving. But every time he saw Amina's sad face, he felt a sharp pain in his heart. Still, he told himself he was doing this for their future. With his new wealth, Bayo bought fine clothes, a bigger house, and even a new car. His friends who once mocked him now admired him. They marveled at his new riches and asked him how he had achieved such success. Bayo felt proud but could never tell them the truth. He kept the cult a secret, just as he had promised. Locked in the room, Amina grew weaker each day. She missed her freedom and her life outside. She could not understand why her husband, whom she loved, would do such a thing to her. She cried quietly, hoping one day Bayo would realize the pain he was causing her. As time went on, Bayo began to feel guilty about what he was doing. He noticed how thin and sad Amina looked, and he could not ignore the pain in her eyes. While the money made him happy, his heart was heavy. He knew deep down that he was hurting the person who had always loved and supported him. Bayo's guilt started whispering louder each day, telling him that he was wrong. He could not sleep well at night, and he began to have nightmares. In his dreams, he saw Amina looking at him with sad eyes, asking him why he had locked her away. He knew he needed to make a choice soon. As his guilt grew, Bayo began to struggle. He wanted to be rich, but he also wanted to stop hurting Amina. He remembered how happy they were before he joined the cult. The love they shared felt distant now, replaced by a deep sadness. Bayo started to wonder if all this money was really worth it. One day, while walking through the market, Bayo met a wise old woman who noticed his troubled face. "You look unhappy, young man," she said. "Money cannot buy happiness if your heart is not at peace." Bayo felt as if she could see through his soul. Her words stayed with him, making him question his choices even more. After meeting the wise woman, Bayo began thinking seriously about leaving the cult. But he was afraid. The cult had warned him never to leave or disobey their rules. Yet the thought of freeing Amina and living a life of peace tugged at his heart. He knew he had to find a way out, no matter the risks. Bayo confided in an old friend, asking for advice without revealing his full secret. "Sometimes, the path to happiness is in letting go of things that harm others," his friend said. Bayo thought deeply about this and realized that the life he was living was not only harming Amina but also hurting him. While searching for a way out, Bayo heard about a church called the House of God Assembly. The people spoke of it as a place of healing and refuge. They said the church's leader, Prophet Manora, was a wise and powerful man who helped those in trouble. Bayo wondered if this church could be his way to freedom. Bayo decided to visit the church. The House of God Assembly was a humble place filled with kind people. Bayo felt peace the moment he stepped inside. He had never felt this way before and began to think that maybe this was where he could find help and change. At the church, Bayo met Prophet Manora, a gentle and wise man with a powerful presence. Bayo felt as if the prophet could see deep into his soul. He confessed his troubles, telling Prophet Manora about the cult and his guilt. Prophet Manora listened with kindness and offered to help Bayo find a new path. For the first time, Bayo poured out his heart and cried about his actions. He told the prophet everything, including the confinement of his beloved wife, Amina. The prophet comforted him, saying that repentance was the first step toward forgiveness and freedom. Prophet Manora encouraged Bayo to turn away from the cult completely and place his trust in God. Bayo agreed, deciding to leave the cult and follow a new path of kindness and love. This was a big decision for Bayo, but he felt peace in his heart as he made it. The cult members soon found out that Bayo had visited the church and were furious. They felt betrayed and worried that Bayo might reveal their secrets. Determined to bring him back, they planned to attack both Bayo and the church to keep their control over him. The cult sent Bayo a message, warning him that he would face severe consequences if he did not return. Bayo felt fear, but his newfound faith gave him strength. He went to Prophet Manora and shared his fears, and the prophet promised to pray and stand by him. Prophet Manora prayed for Bayo, asking for divine protection over him and his family. The church community joined in, praying that Bayo would be free from the cult's grip. Bayo felt comforted by their support and grew more determined to follow his new path. The cult tried to intimidate the church members, but Prophet Manora and the congregation stood firm. They continued to pray and support Bayo, showing him love and care. This gave Bayo hope that he could truly break free from his past. Bayo asked Prophet Manora for help to rescue his wife, Amina, from the confinement he had placed her in. Prophet Manora prayed for guidance, and together they devised a plan to free her without putting her in danger. Angry with Bayo's decision, the cult launched a spiritual attack on the church, attempting to weaken Prophet Manora and frighten the congregation. But Prophet Manora prayed with great faith, calling upon God's protection over the church and its people. Prophet Manora gathered the church for an intense prayer session, asking everyone to pray for strength against the cult's attacks. The congregation prayed together, feeling united and strong. They believed that with God on their side, they would not be defeated. Strange things began happening around the church. Lights flickered, shadows moved, and the atmosphere grew tense. But Prophet Manora and the congregation remained strong, trusting that their prayers would protect them from harm. During a prayer session, Prophet Manora received a powerful vision of Bayo's complete freedom and Amina's liberation. He shared the vision with Bayo, encouraging him to stay strong and have faith. This gave Bayo hope that his journey would have a happy ending. The cult gave Bayo one final warning, telling him to return or face severe consequences. But Bayo, strengthened by his faith and the support of the church, refused. He told them he was done with their darkness and would not return. With the church's support, Bayo freed Amina from her confinement. She was weak but grateful to be out of the room. Bayo apologized for his actions, and they embraced, both feeling a sense of peace and relief. After Amina was freed, she needed time to heal from the confinement and regain her strength. Bayo cared for her tenderly, showing her how sorry he was. Amina forgave him, saying they knew that the man she had loved was returning, and together they prayed for a fresh start. The church members embraced Bayo and Amina, providing them with encouragement and support. They prayed together, asking God to help the couple start a new chapter. Bayo felt comforted and thankful to be part of such a loving community. The cult, furious over Bayo's refusal to return, launched a series of attacks meant to intimidate him. Strange things happened around his home, shadows flickered in the night, eerie noises filled the air, and Bayo felt a dark presence. Despite his fear, he trusted in the prayers and protection of the church. Prophet Manora reassured Bayo, telling him not to fear. He reminded Bayo of God's power and the protection over his family. The prophet's words gave Bayo strength, and he clung to his faith, knowing that the darkness could not defeat him. One evening during a prayer meeting, Prophet Manora sensed a spiritual disturbance. The cult had intensified their attacks, trying to weaken the faith of the church. The congregation prayed fervently, declaring their faith and resisting the powers of darkness together. During a worship session, the church began singing powerful songs, lifting their voices in praise. As they worshipped, a strong sense of peace and strength filled the room. The cult's influence weakened, and the people felt victorious, knowing that God was fighting for them. That night, Bayo had a dream where he saw Prophet Manora leading him out of a dark forest and into the light. When he shared this dream with the prophet, Manora explained that God was showing him that he would soon be free from the cult's grasp completely. The cult grew desperate as their influence over Bayo continued to fade. They knew that if he fully accepted his new faith, they would lose their hold on him forever. They tried one last time to reach out to Bayo, urging him to return, but Bayo ignored their pleas. Prophet Manara and the congregation prayed continuously, asking for a hedge of protection around Bayo and Amina. They prayed for peace in their home, for courage in their hearts, and for strength to resist any further attacks. Bayo felt safe, knowing he was surrounded by the church's love and prayers. As Amina spent time with the church community, her faith grew stronger too. She felt a peace she had never known before and began to pray with Bayo each morning and night. Their bond as husband and wife deepened as they relied on each other and their faith to overcome the darkness. Prophet Manara encouraged Bayo to forgive the cult members who had once controlled him. Bayo found this difficult, but he prayed for a forgiving heart. Slowly, he released his anger, feeling lighter as he let go of the bitterness inside him. In a vision, Prophet Manara saw Bayo completely free, standing tall and joyful. He shared this vision with Bayo, who felt encouraged. Bayo began to believe that total freedom was near, and his faith grew stronger with each passing day. The cult, determined not to lose Bayo, tried one final attack. They sent a dark figure to confront him, appearing in his home late at night. But Bayo was not afraid. He prayed aloud, calling on the name of God. The dark figure vanished, and Bayo felt a deep sense of peace. Prophet Manara gathered the church for a special night of prayer and fasting. The entire congregation joined in, praying for strength against the cult's power. They lifted their voices, declaring that no evil could stand against them. During the night of prayer, strange things began to happen. The cult's leaders, feeling an intense fear, realized that their powers were weakening. They knew they were losing Bayo and felt powerless against the church's prayers. News spread that the cult was losing its influence and power. Some of its members began leaving, no longer believing in its promises. The cult's leaders felt defeated and were unable to stop their followers from abandoning the dark path. Bayo and Amina joined the church in worship, singing songs of freedom and hope. They felt a sense of liberation as they sang, no longer bound by fear. The couple felt light-hearted and grateful for the love they found in the church. Prophet Manara led Bayo in a final prayer for complete deliverance. Bayo felt a warmth in his heart and a release from any lingering darkness. He knew in that moment that he was truly free and that the cult had no power over him anymore. Bayo returned home feeling like a new person. He thanked Amina for her patience and forgiveness, promising to love and cherish her always. They shared a moment of joy, knowing their lives were now filled with peace and hope. As Bayo and Amina continued to grow in their faith, they rebuilt the trust that had been broken. Bayo worked hard to show Amina that he was committed to their new life, and Amina saw the genuine change in his heart. Bayo and Amina became active members of the church. They attended services regularly, made new friends, and found joy in serving others. Their hearts felt full, and they were grateful for the support and love they received from the congregation. One day, Prophet Manara invited Bayo to share his story with the church. Bayo felt nervous but agreed. He spoke about his journey, the darkness he had faced, and the freedom he found in God. The congregation was moved, and many felt inspired by his story of redemption. The church held a celebration to rejoice in Bayo's newfound freedom. They sang, danced, and shared food, celebrating the power of love and faith. Bayo felt deeply thankful, knowing he was surrounded by people who cared for him and his family. Bayo discovered a new purpose in life. He wanted to help others who were trapped in similar situations, guiding them toward faith and freedom. Prophet Manara encouraged him, saying that his story could bring hope to many. Amina, too, found healing and strength. She began helping other women in the church, sharing her experiences and encouraging those who were facing hardships. Her heart grew lighter, and she found joy in helping others. With their faith strong and their hearts healed, Bayo and Amina looked to the future with hope. They were no longer afraid of the past and knew that they could face anything together, supported by their faith and their church. Bayo dedicated himself to serving others, helping those who were struggling and guiding them toward faith. The church community appreciated his efforts, and Bayo felt fulfilled, knowing he was making a difference. Prophet Manara blessed Bayo and Amina, praying that they would continue to grow in love and faith. The couple felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that they were living a life of purpose and joy. The cult, having lost its influence and power, finally disbanded. The leaders were no longer able to manipulate people, and many former members found new hope and freedom. Bayo felt relieved, knowing the darkness was behind him. Bayo and Amina lived a life filled with peace, love, and faith. They were grateful for the second chance they had been given and dedicated their lives to helping others find the same freedom. They knew that their journey had been difficult, but their hearts were filled with joy and gratitude as they walked a new path together.